So, building effective habits took me a long time. Habits are always there, but when we talk about being effective, we ask ourselves, what does it actually mean? Like, when do we consider things are working? I think that is something we must define before creating our habits. Because, for example, is doodling once a day enough? Because for some, that's already a huge win. But for others, it won't be enough. That's why it's different for everybody. There's no one size fits all approach to this. What I'll be sharing today is how I crafted my art habits, what worked for me, and for sure you will be able to pull some inspiration. Yeah. And I know as creatives, you're naturally resourceful. We can think outside the box and turn things around. So, over time, I transitioned to different sets of routine. Reasons are like I changed them because they're not working. Some other times, that's not the case. Um, it's because of changes in life. Like last year, I transitioned to a different career, to a change of jobs, change of schedule, and even health. And changing things over doesn't always mean out that we failed. Sometimes it simply means we're evolving. So, let's get to it. Number one, setting goals and priorities. The first question I ask myself is, what's my main goal? And from there, I can structure everything else. Like what sits at the top of my priority, what sits at the bottom, which demands more of my time and attention, which things can be done just once a week. Yeah. And everything else follows. So, talking about main goal, for me, I want art to be my lifestyle, in the future, a career. And I want to be able to express myself through arts and also support others who's pursuing their own creative goals. And because of that, making art is a high priority. At the very top of my priorities are also relationships and health. Relationship that includes my family and the baby words. So when crafting my routine, I want to make sure it's flexible. I'll have quality. I can spend time with my family, and I make sure I'll be able to work out, get outdoors. So those are my non-negotiables.
Number two, designing environment. Since I want to make art easy, I want it to feel like flow, something I don't have to pull myself to do. I want zero friction. Our environment affects us and sabotages us more than we know. Whether it's the people around us, the placement of our furniture, where we keep our supplies, or finding the best spots in the house with the best sunlight. I've intentionally set up 4 art spots around the house: the couch, the dining table, the bedroom, and the bird's room. First, the living area. This brown couch used to be right in front of the TV, paired with these 2 accent chairs. I decided to switch things around and use those chairs for the TV area instead, because they aren't as couchy or cozy, which encourages us to sit upright and actually spend less time watching TV. I moved the big, comfortable brown couch over here by the bookshelves, the lamp, and a movable little table. This is my low friction zone. Because it is so comfortable, it encourages me to spend my time reading, doodling, or sketching in my art journal. I even moved most of my supplies into the bookshelves right next to it. If I feel like resting, I can lie down here and still be surrounded by inspiration. Doing a little bit of art here doesn't feel like work because the TV's at an awkward angle. From this view, the distraction is gone. Then there's the dining table. Since it's just my husband and me, we use this for much more than just eating. This table used to be on the gloomier side of the room, and I found myself dragging my feet to get any work done here. I decided to swap it with the couches and move it right by the big window to catch the best sunlight. Now, we use this space for productive, high focus activities. I even keep my easel set up right beside the table so I don't have to exert much effort to start when I want to paint with oils or acrylics. Of course, for my larger projects, I head into the birds' room. Yes, they have a room all to themselves. We used to share the space, but I had to reclaim just a corner for my big artworks because I didn't want them munching on my sketch pads anymore. Number three, routine, strategic scheduling. We have to know ourselves, our energy levels, and our time. My job isn't a typical 9 to 5. It's very flexible. And since my schedule changes throughout the entire week, I've learned to group my tasks strategically. Instead of looking at a changing schedule as something working against my goals, I make it work for me. We have to be intentional so that everything feels smooth, easy, and enjoyable. For me, that means batching. On days when my shift starts early and I only have few hours in the morning, I schedule light tasks, watching online art courses, quick painting practices, or minimal content creation. But on days when my shift starts later or on my days off, that's when I schedule momentum tasks. These are the big projects that need deep focus, like painting for my portfolio, filming, or website building. My energy is highest in the morning, so I always put those big projects there rather than at night when I'm tired. I keep art journaling and notes flexible using my phone or the notebooks I have spread around the house. During breaks or small pockets of free time, I use my drawing app or a small physical sketchbook that I keep handy. At night, I focus on relaxation with my husband. If I don't have any creative juice left, I stick to no-brainer tasks like preparing my art supplies for tomorrow or opening my sketchbook to the next blank page so I'm ready to flow the next day. Number four, celebration and rest. Finally, celebration and rest are just as important as the painting itself. I make sure to have days where I can simply enjoy nature or treat myself to a reward for the work I've put in during the week. Sometimes that reward is a walk in the fresh air, and sometimes it's just extra sleep. And I've learned not to feel guilty about that. Rest isn't doing nothing, it's how we refill our creative cup. Those are the four pillars I use to build my art habits. You might choose to be more hustle and bustle and competitive, or you might prefer to be more minimalistic, and that is perfectly okay. For me, productivity isn't measured by the quantity of what I produced or how many pages I filled. That's not how I measured success anymore. Instead, I look at the quality. How much did I learn? How much have I grown? And most importantly, how much joy did I feel? Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't bring us joy, it's not a habit that will last. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What does a gentle art habit look like in your life? Or maybe, what is one non negotiable priority you're protecting right now? If you enjoy this glimpse into my process, please consider subscribing to join the flock. It would mean the world to have you along for the journey as I navigate this creative life. See you in the next one.